You are watching What's Up Punta Cana with Kristi Maggio, una americana italiana en la República Dominicana since 2013. A teacher at heart, but her curiosity has sparked new opportunities. Director, businesswoman, humanitarian, talk show host. La curiosa directora has decided to become the student. Go behind the scenes to get a closer look at what this country is all about. And Cher is here with you. So, if you love everything Dominicana, stay tuned. This is What's Up Punta Cana with Kristi Maggio.
Hello. I want to welcome everyone to another episode of What's Up Punta Cana with Kristi Maggio. I hope everyone had a wonderful week. Tonight's guest is someone who is a little bit different in what they do. I'm sure many of you right now, with everything going on with the pandemic and COVID and many being on unemployment or simply out of work, are trying to figure out what you want the next step to be in terms of life in general. Maybe trying to find your dream, your passion, and make that your next step for your life. Personally, I think many of us are looking to try and reinvent ourselves to really live the life that we want. And as many of you know, these past few months, I have been trying to bring forth incredible success stories of people who have overcome and persevered and basically created the life that they want to have, that they want to live. And although the pandemic has been very difficult for many people, many lives have been lost, it has truly been a challenging time. But I also think a lot of good has come out of it. And if you can see the light in the darkness, so to speak, I know that for myself, these past few months, I have been trying to sit and listen and be still and try and figure out what my next step will be. And in doing this, I have found many master classes that are online and networking through different people. For example, from the President's Summit, we had CEO Frederick Linderberg on a few weeks ago, and they have amazing master classes each week on Wednesdays that I highly recommend, as they have some of the top people in business, marketing, and entrepreneurship on there, and you can check that out on their website. As well, I have interviewed Doug Vermeeren and the cast of How Thoughts Become Things, because they're trying to change your life by changing your thoughts and your thought process. And I'm a part of his group as well. And hopefully, in a few weeks, we'll have him on again to talk about those classes for the new year. Also, Anjanita Prevost, she's an interview that I've done but hasn't been on yet. She does networking every Tuesday on LinkedIn and much more to help mostly female entrepreneurs, but male as well. I do know that these programs are wonderful. They are very valuable in their teachings, and most are no cost at all. So for those that are looking to try to increase their value, increase their life, and just don't know where to go or where to turn at this moment, listening to these experts will help. I've come to realize that most of them have gone down the same path, in the sense of not the same actions, but the same mindset. And I think once you put yourself in the right mindset and get clear about what it is that you truly want out of life, everything kind of sort of just gets better and opens up and allows you to then focus and go down the route that you want. And that is what our guest tonight does. Her name is Jaya Jankert, or as they pronounce it in Sweden, where she lives, Jaya. She is a personal stylist, wardrobe stylist, and life coach. She helps her clients relate to who they are through their clothing, and helps them reveal that what they truly say and think about themselves by stripping them, so to speak, of their unconscious beliefs that they hide under in the layers of their clothing, of what they wear. And so she empowers her clients to feel more authentic, through um, through conscious mindset and clothing to show their true beauty both inside and out. She really is interesting in what she does, as there are a lot of coaches out there right now, a lot of people that want to help. And the thing is that with coaching and with master classes and mastermind groups, people might think, well, there's a lot of them out there, and there are, that is true, but not everyone is the right fit for each person. Each person is different, and each person brings different value, and you might click with one person but not necessarily with another person. And so the one thing about Jaya is that she also has a niche, as it's put in business terms, which means that she has a specific thing that she does that many other coaches do not do, and that is taking your wardrobe and having it help bring forth that confidence and that ability to shine and to see what you are wearing that is holding you back. And I never really thought about it until I spoke with her. And I really would like you to pay attention and listen to all of these wonderful things that she has to say, because we also go in depth about her background. She was adopted. She's from India originally, and she was adopted at 2 months old by a family in Sweden. And so her perspective on different things that she has experienced throughout her life is quite valuable, quite unique. And I hope you find them as interesting and valuable as I did. And I will allow her to share the rest of it with you. So without any more hesitation, here is Jaya Jankert, personal stylist and life coach. Welcome to What's Up Punta Cana with Kristi Maggio. I am here today with Jaya Jankert. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. I'm very good. And you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. So, Jaya, you are a fashion consultant, wardrobe stylist, but you go beyond that. You're not just a personal shopper. You help people, women, but also men. Can you tell us about that? Tell us what you do, because it's a bit different than what other people do.
Yeah, for me, it's all about bringing out the person inside, the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Since we are all unique persons, and I mean, there's only one of you, there's only one of me, and I try to bring out the person they are today and where they're heading. So I make also, in terms of the wardrobe, because I help them to clean out like the clothing which shouldn't belong there anymore, and which could be, you know, attached to energy. It could be if you had kids and then your body shapes changes, and you have to like take that clothing away. And then kind of I talk to them about and asking question about where they are today and where they're heading. So I'm doing also visualization about the person. Probably in your wardrobe, maybe you don't use everything in your wardrobe, and I want people to really use the clothing they're having in the wardrobe, and also make them shine in what they already have. And then you have to add stuff as well. But for me, it's all about mindset as well.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, because until we had spoken about it prior to this, it never really dawned on me or made me think about how we tend to hold on to different pieces in our closet that remind us of something that maybe we don't fit into anymore, or maybe has some sort of significance in a different way. And I don't really like to use positive or negative, but at the same time, it brings us to a moment where, you know, and our feelings inside can really be changed at that moment and change our mood about us. And I find it just so interesting because a lot of times now you see people,
Yeah.
especially right now, that are doing coaching and mindset and how to get you from where you are to where you want to be, but none quite with this special detail, which is really so important because while it's really important to work on the inside,
Yeah.
and that's very clear, if you don't feel good on the outside, it doesn't help the inner mood. So when
Exactly.
someone comes to you,
Yeah.
how does it work? Like, how do you start? What is it uh that you say to them? What's the process?
The process is I start with an interview and asking questions to the person, because for me it's also important to have the right client. And with that, I mean, for me, it is that a client is open, that a client uh, is aware. It could be that they could be in the beginning of the process of um, kind of releasing some trauma, some, it could be big stuff as well,
Mm-hmm.
but they need to be open-minded. That,
Mm-hmm. Right.
because otherwise I'm not able to reach them as well. And since I'm not a stylist who's only focusing on what's trendy right
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm more focusing on the person and also about the inside and what's in the wardrobe. um, I need them to um, also have the right values, to be honest.
What are those values that you look for?
I look for authentic authenticity.
Uh-huh. Authenticity. Very
Thank you.
good.
and,
Yes.
and also, either you say, I say conscious, but you could say be aware as well. It all
Mm-hmm.
depends where you are in the process. Growth, um, and love and clarity. And with that, I mean, I'm really open-minded and straightforward. And
Mm-hmm.
most of my clients are that as well. Because for me, it's all about them. So I will, in the process, if we cleaning out the wardrobe with the clothing, and there is something, some garments they really want to keep, and I ask them a question about it, it's all up to them to decide if they want to keep.
Right.
So that's not up to me, but I could explain why I don't think, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's up to them. So for me, it's very, very important that they feel uh, comfortable, because it's pretty vulnerable.
Right.
It
Right.
is.
I mean,
Um,
and you even said like right down to their undergarments.
exactly, and it always start there. So most of my clients, they need to change their underwear as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, it's a process within itself. So
Right.
just to see the transformation there in the dressing room is quite amazing, because it could be like, okay, I'm standing here, I don't know what to have, because I'm used to, the old stuff, which is probably the wrong sizes, and
Right.
maybe they had it so long. And to see the transformation, I mean, in the look in their eyes and the posture and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, what I'm talking to them about is that the underwear should be for them,
Right.
not for someone else.
Right.
Because you feel empowered from the inside with like the right underwear, then
Mm-hmm.
everything else will really look good on you.
Right.
Like, clothing and as well. So it is important. It's more important than you think.
Sure. No, 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 no. And I mean, as a woman, even I'm sure men out there too,
Yeah.
you got your droopy drawers and you've got the ones that make you feel and look a little sexy,
Yeah.
and obviously what makes you feel better when you have those ones on that make you feel sexy and good in your body, no matter who you are. We all have had that moment that, so it's those little things that you're just like, oh, okay. So but that's really amazing, and really, it's kind of like stripping away, and I use that, like that. It's like stripping down, and
Mhm.
then put stripping down the layers and finding new ones
Yes.
to put on, based on finding that balance between the inside and the outside at the moment, as to who you are, where you are in
Yes.
your life. Now, how did you decide to get into this? Like, have you done this your whole life? Have you have you always just been into fashion? What is it? What was that moment in your life that made
Yeah.
you come to be this?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've been in the hotel industry for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made a decision to completely change the career. I had a dad who went sick in cancer, and that was 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed away. And after he passed away, I decided um, to really ask open question to myself, like, am I passionate about the industry? And
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. And my passion is people.
Right.
So um, I decided that, okay, so what do I like? Like, what is important for me, and so on. And a friend of mine, she asked me, could you help me with styling? You like clothing. And I haven't always liked clothing at all,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin and my own, like, the clothing I wore when I grew up. And that was a lot of me. I didn't feel that, what do you say? Like, I was early in my, what do you say? When you get breast, when you get.
Oh,
Oh,
maturity.
yeah, exactly. And I was also commented on my body. So that lowered my self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I decided to change my life for 6 years ago, I kind of worked on my mindset from that day. And so when my friend asked me, could you help me please with combining clothing? I'm off for a meeting. And she said, maybe you should be a stylist. And I was like, no, that's not me. And then she said, but you could go from where you are. I mean, your target group, and also um, do it your way. So I studied to that, and then I started my company 2 years ago. But I needed more experience, so I started to work in a fashion store,
Mm-hmm.
and that was where my company was born, actually, in the dressing room.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So you
because
were helping people when you were working in the store, and it was from helping those people in that store that your company evolved or
yeah,
was
and
born.
especially I think the heart of my company, because when the women came in and they wanted new clothing, it could be like speaking on a stage, it could be holding a presentation or going on a date or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
um, they always started to comment on themselves in the mirror, like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like this, I feel I have my arms, it's wrong with my arms because I have fat here, it all these things.
Right, right. The
And
self-criticism.
I always find something beautiful in a person, so I found something that really looked them shine. if you could say that.
Yeah.
And to see their eyes started to sparkle and like really, oh, could I have that? Could I have this color? Oh, I didn't know that I could fit in this sweater or dress or skirt or whatever. That's where I knew, because I asked a lot of questions as well.
Right.
So somehow helping a person with clothing is so much more. For me, it's so much more than just making them having, the latest trends or whatever. It's so much more, because the empowerment which actually took place was the things they said afterwards was really, something that I still like brings with me every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of times, especially for young people, I know I grew up as, a heavy girl,
Mm,
made fun of quite a bit,
mm,
as you grow up, you don't feel good, you don't look good. There's the
mm.
criticism and all of that. And you said that as you were growing up, you as well had faced some of that, the critiques, the things, that kind of a lot of times, children and teens are facing today. And so can you tell me a little bit about that experience, your feelings, and how that kind of shaped into um having you change that mindset today?
Yeah, actually, and this is part of my story, but it's my, what do you say, like, fashion role model is actually my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
He really loved trends and
Mm-hmm.
clothing, and I'm actually wearing her skirt today, right now. But she also was really focused on weight.
Mm-hmm.
So she was the one who commented on my body. And even if the intention was good, that made me feel I wasn't good enough.
Right.
And for me, I found her skirts a couple of years ago on my
Mm-hmm.
mom's attic. So I think when I grew up, um, I didn't think that much about mindset because I was too young at the time. But when I started to really change everything, it was actually when I got divorced and started to change my behavior and take responsibility for the person I was back then, but also the person I wanted to become.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been one step at a time.
Right.
And like we say, it's all about the inside, everything. And that is my opinion. But I think if we, and what I've been doing for all these years, it's been kind of, what is it, like peeling one layer at a
Yeah.
time. Yeah. And this year for me has been really taking care, what do you say, like um, releasing and dig deep in some of my traumas and stuff like that. And some of them are also related to lack of self-esteem when I grew up, of course. But so I don't know if that is an answer of your question, but
No, it is because I do think that even I think that children today, teens today, especially with even adults today as well,
yeah,
especially with social media,
yeah,
with you can now alter your image, people
mm,
not really realizing how much airbrushing and Photoshop are really into those things, that they tend to have a false sense of what is reality, what
yeah,
is real and what isn't. And the idea that it's really important to love who you are,
yeah,
because there is nobody else like you. And I had moved to I know that one of the reasons I always loved the Dominican Republic, because
Yeah.
when I had moved to the Dominican, was because they loved full figure women. And
Yeah.
so for me, I was like, well, great, because I've never been uh, overly thin, but at the same time, it's just one of those things that I felt it was like I felt comfortable, and I
Yeah.
but then you have to just feel good with yourself, feel good with
Yeah.
who you are, and know that there's nobody else like you. And so what would you say to a young person today, or anyone that comes up to you and says, um, ah, they have low self-esteem, or they're struggling with their body image?
Yeah.
Um, what would what
I
advice
could
would you give?
actually, I could give an example of my kids and
Mhm,
my, because I'm very much into conscious parenting,
mhm.
because the reason I needed to break patterns 6 years ago, it is because I don't want them to have all of my uh, kind of stuff.
Right.
So they are the reason that I always say good things in the mirror
Mhm.
for them to see that it's just a body.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And to feel, we have talked about that. So I think for me, it starts early to
Mhm.
really talk about it, and also encourage each other that we look good as we are. I also, if someone would ask me something, I would only kind of advise from my perspective and my point of view, which is I never use filter on my Instagram, for example,
Mhm.
and I do that on purpose because I want to show the real me,
Mhm.
the reality. Like
Right,
this.
right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't use that much makeup. I have like lipstick, but to somehow, because I talked with the kids about if they say something about someone being fat, for example, and
Mhm.
that is okay. So what is that
Right.
exactly? Like really, I take the discussion and we kind of peel it down to why should that be wrong?
You live in Sweden right now.
Yes,
Yes. You grew up in Sweden,
yes,
but you were born in India,
yes,
and you were adopted at 2.5 months old.
yes, exactly. Yes.
So what is that? What has that been like? I mean, I know that Sweden is all that you have known,
Mm.
but I know that there were some interesting things that you had stated, to me yesterday about that time of growing up, being an Indian woman, or a darker skinned woman in
Mm.
Sweden, and your experience in that, which I found very, very interesting. Will you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm, as you say, adopted, and I have a brother, and he's biological. The thing is that mom and dad and him has never treated me differently
Mhm.
because I was adopted or because of my skin or anything like that. So when I grew up, I felt that I was like everyone else.
Mhm.
I think it was 5 years when I somehow realized that I had a different skin color, and that was through someone commented on it, not in a bad way, but
Right.
as kids would do. And for me, that has actually formed my whole identity, I think, regarding that we all look different, but we are so similar in so many ways.
Right.
I never pay attention, never. And for me, it's all about the person I'm
Mhm.
meeting, and maybe values, maybe the personality, of course. I mean, I will not be liked by everyone, and I don't maybe agree with everyone. What happens if we just start to see the persons? Would there be racism in the world?
Right. And it's so true. because even as we had mentioned, or we had said yesterday, these are, racism in and of itself is a preconditioned, you know, uh, notion in a person as they grow up. That's
Yeah.
something that's learned. None of us are born racist,
Yeah.
especially children are accepting, more accepting than anybody, that in that sense. So you don't grow up saying I don't like you and I don't like you. For children, everybody is the same. They may not like them because they won't share their toy or something like that, but it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with their skin color necessarily. And so therefore, the really important thing that you said is imagine if we could just stop and listen and have that conversation without taking into account their physical appearance, but who they are on the inside, instead of on the outside, because we are um, we are taught hatred. We are taught racism. It is not something that we are born with. And
No.
it's one of those things that I always, whenever this conversation comes up, I always love to go back to, like, the story of Huck Finn by Mark Twain. And when the families, those two families were feuding, and the one little boy says to Huck, and Huck says, "Well, why are you feuding?" And the little boy's like, I don't know. They just been, my dad doesn't like him, and my grandpa didn't like him, my great grandpa didn't like him, or something to that. And so, but then all those generations after, they don't even know why they're feuding, yet they're killing each other. And it's kind of, and it's a crazy thing. And I think that, as you said, if we can all just learn to realize that we're so much more similar
Mm.
than we are different, um, the world would be a very different place. Very
Yeah,
different.
it would. And there would be more love and acceptance.
Mhm,
And I really, really think and feel that love is the only way which will heal this world.
mhm.
And it starts with yourself.
Absolutely,
It does.
absolutely. Michael
So
Jackson had it right when he said, "Man in the mirror." We're starting with a man in
yeah,
the mirror. Like,
yeah,
now I want to go to what happened 6 years ago.
yeah,
I think that this is a whole other, we're hitting all these different dynamics
yeah.
here. So, like, it's, I love it.
That's
So,
life.
but yes, and it is life. It is
Yeah.
life. And one challenge uh ends up bringing you the next great thing. So what happened 6 years ago that kind of made you shift and change uh to the woman that you are today?
It started with um, I was just, let me see, I had my two kids, but I wasn't happy.
Mhm.
Um, it has nothing to do with them, I would just add that, but everything to do with my inside. And I felt that I was living in some kind of darkness and in a box, and also that I felt I was surrounding myself with a lot of negativity, and I projected a lot. My anger, fear. Uh, I was kind of had turned into a person I never thought I would be. And
Mhm.
I'm a really positive attitude person, kind of person, an
Mhm.
optimist, but not at that time. So suddenly I just felt that I need a change. I can't continue live my life like this. And I wasn't happy in my marriage as well. And the thing is also that everything actually had to do with myself. So it's
And
so
so
easy.
what was that discovery that you made about yourself?
I was angry all the time. And I'm not an angry person. I mean, of
Mhm.
course I could be angry. That's something else. But I wasn't living in love or light or anything. And then this is maybe spiritual, but in that sense,
Right.
at all. So I decided that I wanted a divorce, and at the same time I just made that decision, I also made a decision to myself to actually break my patterns, take responsible for my behavior, and really dig deep. I had a mantra from that time, like one step at a time, because I didn't know where to live with my kids. I didn't know. I needed to go to the bank. There was so much practical stuff.
Uh-huh.
But somewhere there, I asked for help. Like, okay, I asked my colleagues, how do I make, like, in buying an apartment? Like, I asked people.
Right.
So, and that is something which has helped me all the way. These 6 years, there's always been people helping me in different ways, like different perspective with things. Because I think I'm really open-minded, asking questions.
Mm-hmm. That's very important.
I don't feel there's no pride in that. Could you say that?
Right. There's no problem, but I don't think that it's a sign. It's definitely, I think a lot of people don't ask questions or even ask for help because they feel like it's a sign of weakness.
Oh, yeah.
And so in that sense, I think I agree with you 100% that asking for help, it shows a sign of strength, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so too. So, and I just did it instantly, and then one step at a time. Of course, we're still living in my first home by heart, or whatever you say, but
Mhm.
and it's not big, but it's so much good energy in here and
Right.
so much love, and that has been like my mantra all the way, like one step at a time. And I started to really peel, because it's also what I think is, you always get as much as you could tolerate.
Mhm.
If you're standing there with kids or without kids, and having been divorced, and you don't know, okay, where to start, you just want to feel good again, like in
Right.
yourself. Just for me, it's one step at a time, because the rest of the house and everything will come.
Right. So what was the first memory that you had after that that you can say that you found that yourself starting to feel good again?
uh, it was a feeling of freedom when I got this home. I knew that was the beginning of so much more,
Mhm.
not just a home. And so I think that was the first big step.
Mhm.
And after that, breaking patterns, being alone at home, like not having anxiety of, I always been kind of a person who escapes a lot,
Mhm.
run away, and because I have never dared to really stand in my own uh, what do you say, kind of feelings, when I'm not like face my feelings,
Uh-huh.
face
Yes,
in,
you avoid them.
yeah. I am a very emotional person, so it's not that, but just really
Mhm.
face them. So I started to be at home when I didn't want to be at home, and like, okay, I have anxiety, I go around. I had, at that time I had television time, and I went around here, but I didn't call someone and kind of, oh, would you like to do something? I
Right.
stayed home. And then that passed away. Like that feelings kind of, yeah, disappeared. So all these things, these small steps, it was also getting my car and driving with my kids, like what do you say in, that is 500 kilometers then, um, south in Sweden. They were
Uh-huh.
so I mean, they were only 2 years and 4 years at the time, just to also break my pattern of being scared of driving alone with two kids.
Mhm.
So I done a lot of these small things, which has led up to where I am today, because
So
that's what.
you kind of faced your fears head
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
You know, if you didn't like to stay at home and you were always trying to go and avoid, you said, all right, no, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to feel these feelings. And I don't like to drive long distances, but I'm going to do it. So
yeah,
basically, one of the ways that you kind of brought yourself to where you are today is by taking those moments of discomfort
yeah,
that you felt uncomfortable in your own skin and you just said, I'm going to do it because that was your way of breaking free of those limitations that you had.
yes, yeah.
So that's incredible. That's incredible. It's a
And
really good.
also my previous life a little
Right.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that is those are really good lessons for people who are finding themselves struggling in those things. You know, one way to overcome those moments, to get past,
yes,
is very much so is just facing them head on.
yeah,
And but like you said, step by step, don't go facing
yeah.
them head on all at the same time because
No,
you probably get into a collision on that one.
yes. And also I think uh, I wasn't resourceful enough to actually uh, be afford to have a what to say, therapist,
Right,
or
right.
so I knew I needed to find another way, and
Hmm.
this was my way. Like I took there's so many people that I one day will write down and thank them, but there are so many people who shared their stories. Like it's all
Hmm.
about attitude to people who have gone to I don't know if you say that in English, but a kind of therapy form. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I like that, and I tried that, and then I did it. So I taking a
Right.
lot of good stuff from people, like
Yeah.
really, yeah, their best
Yeah.
kind of
Their
takeaway.
advice, what they
Yeah,
do with it and taking it upon yourself
yeah,
and using it and saying, "Oh, well, that sounds good. Let me try it."
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and let's see if it works for you.
Yeah.
Um, and now how old are your children now?
They are 8, and my daughter is turning 10 on Monday.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Um, so after all of this, you then decided that you were going to start your own business and try and kind of, as you said yesterday, pay it forward. You know,
yeah,
try and help others. But the greatest part about what you're doing to kind of bring it all back to where we were, where we started,
mm,
is that you are also doing it through um through their wardrobe, through their
yeah,
closet. And I think that is a really important detail because we can work on the inside, but it's
mm,
also helpful, uh, to work on feeling good on the outside
yes,
as well. Because a lot of times people say, it's not what's on the outside, what's on the inside. But they both kind of go hand in hand, like I'll be sitting here and everything right now is zoom and online and everything. And sometimes my mother or sister would be like, oh, where are you going, what are you doing today? And I'm just like, well, I, there's no way to make yourself at least initially start with a better feeling than to look your best in the morning, whether you're going somewhere or not.
mm,
So yeah, but I think that's really important. And
it
I
is.
think that what you do to try and dig deeper into how people are feeling inside,
Yes.
um, like I said before, it's a key component that a lot of people don't really think about,
Mm,
as to subconsciously holding them back in certain ways, or constantly reminding them of maybe not so good memories from their past, or fears that are constantly being brought up, but it's in a subconscious way, not necessarily conscious, because they might just think it's a dress hanging in their closet, but really it says it has its own story. And I love that you try and help people and bring out that the good, and try and help them, coach them, and change their life through their closet. And it's kind of I can't remember, I don't know what it's called. It's like kind of like people want to, we always hear with people coming out of the closet, so to speak, when they don't want to tell people about their sexuality, if they're gay or lesbian. And so it's kind of another way of thinking about it as well, coming out of the closet, in the sense of you don't want to kind of open that up again for even just past fears or ideas that you might have in your mind that you feel like you're kind of pushing away or keeping closed in, so that you don't have to face them. And I mean, it's really incredible, and it's something that I haven't seen yet since. And there's a lot of stuff going on out there right now. So I think that what you're doing is absolutely spectacular and wonderful, and for people to do, because it's necessary. It
It
really
is
is.
necessary. And I also think, like, I dress up almost every day at home, even if I work a lot from home now. It's a shifting in a mindset. I mean,
It's true.
I get so much more empowered and energy myself. And I mean, when I have Zoom meetings or do online styling, for me, I don't like if the other person would sit in pajamas, for example, or
Right.
camo, because they're not showing them self-respect, and they're not showing me my, what do you say, me my yeah, me respect, because the only thing we are short of is time.
Right.
And if someone is not paying attention to themselves, why should I be working with them?
Right.
I'm pretty, but it's important to think that even if you're home working, you have to show up as if you are out,
Right.
the person, like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
If now I'm talking business,
Right.
I know a lot of people are working from home in their kind of yoga clothes, and it could be comfortable, but still look good.
Right. Oh, sure. You can have those yoga pants on the bottom, but nothing with a nice top on top.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what we have on the bottom right now, do they?
That is actually also something, but because yes, you can, but to have the whole empowerment,
No, you're right.
yeah, then I would suggest that because I have these discussions quite a lot. But
Now tell me a little bit about your spirituality, because you talked about that briefly, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. And how does that come into play for you? I know I'm everyone believes little things differently. I'm a believer in God. I have great faith, and that is what's gotten me through this time period. And I'm very fortunate, I think, that I have that great faith, because I have not allowed my fears to really get the best of me,
yeah.
because I've maintained that every experience is a learning experience, no matter what the challenge is. How does that play into what you do, and how do you use that when you are coaching someone?
First of all, I believe in something higher than myself. And I always talk about universe. And for me, I kind of open up for my spirituality. What is it now? 1.5 years ago, something like that. Or 1 year ago. Like really, I always had, of course, my intuition, but I haven't paid attention all the time to it.
Right.
For me, it's also open up for my what do you say, inner, and like listen to my heart and my intuition. My intuition is guiding me every day now.
Right.
But that has kind of been really, what do you say, transformational journey this year. And I now feel energy. I feel energy from my dad, like since he died, every day. He's with me every day. And energy doesn't die. So that's like, it's nothing strange.
I agree with that. I do.
And for me, when I have my clients, there is a lot of energy going around, because it's energy in the clothing, it's energy from the client, it's energy from me as well. And when I ask a lot of questions, there, how could I say this? Almost every time the client open up a lot. And that is something which has always been the case, I think, when I meet people since I was a kid, to be honest. But what I could see is that something is shifting. And then I know, I mean, if I meet a client 3 times, for example, between the first and the second, there will be a shift. It could be a shift that they are in their own businesses, evolving, like how they write on social media, how they interact. I could see that.
Right.
And they are doing the transformation and the job, of course. But I know that I have, I don't know, my superpower, I think, is to be present and to really be okay. I talked with my virtual assistant about this today. She said, you're very
empathetic.
Thank you. Exactly.
No worries.
And yeah, and I think that is also because I really, really love people. I do.
Right. And you truly care. You truly want to know how they feel. You truly want to help them. You truly listen when they speak to you, opposed to others that don't necessarily. And I think today one of the greatest things that some people lack is the power to just listen and hear what other people have to say, and not always feel like you have to have an answer. Sometimes people just want to talk and be heard and be understood. And so when you're able to do that, and it is a gift to be able to do that, and then kind of understand, know how they feel. And if you don't, just, like you said, be empathetic with what they have going on. And that's something that's really, really important. And people know when you're being true, when you're sincere about it, and when you're just, saying, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, for the sake of just saying something.
Yeah. And that is also because to be able to be that present that I am today, before I was in my head, like my energy was really high. And I wasn't as grounded as I am today, which made me not be as present as I am today. Are you following?
Right.
Yeah. So when I open up for my spirituality and also started to breathe.
Breathing is very important.
Then there was a shift. And I could never go back. As soon as I'm up here in high energy, I have the lucky me to have such amazing friends who are always like, you're up here now, yeah, down, because we are doing it to each other.
Right.
And breathe, like I can't talk to you because you're too high in your energy. And I love that because I can't, if someone else is that now, if I'm having it, I also say, okay, so stop, we need to breathe because you're here.
Uh-huh.
And that person could be, okay, am I? Yes. And I can't focus right now because the energy is kind of
Mm-hmm. I
too high.
think it's really important for people out there that are listening right now to read and understand and learn about energy, because a lot of people have misconceptions on what energy is, the idea
Mm,
of energy flow, how
mm.
one person's energy can completely affect you and change how you feel from one moment, and how to not give your energy away, especially if they're trying to impose a different or lower energy on you, so to speak. But I think it's really important. That could be a whole other topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
but,
Absolutely.
but
And
yeah.
also that part is also for me, and what I learned from a friend of mine who's really good on this is when you say something about uh, some one person take your energy.
Uh-huh.
Yes, teach me that it's more that I don't put my boundaries.
Uh-huh. It's
And
true.
that is true because I started to do that now and
Mm-hmm.
kind of really stop, wait, and then also give the responsible back to the person.
Right. Absolutely.
Do that with the from a state of love, you know. You
Uh-huh.
don't
Oh,
have to,
yeah.
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 So,
Because a lot of times feel like, oh, they shift the blame on somebody else, but you're absolutely right. Like they can't take my energy unless I allow them to do it. But I also love, there's nothing like going somewhere and knowing that someone's in a certain, lower state, or I don't like to use negative, but they
yeah,
always
but lower
have
is
that,
good. Yeah.
yeah, lower state of energy. And I love like pulling on that with like the higher state of energy, and watching their mood completely change and bringing them to me. There's nothing like it. Like that is the best feeling in the whole wide world.
Yeah, but isn't it because you have a fantastic energy? So I think isn't it just you showing up as you?
It is, but sometimes I go in, just to see if
Ah,
how I if I can pull
yeah,
it. And because sometimes you'll get into a tug of war,
yeah,
and and so who's going to take whose? Usually I prevail on that one. But
yeah.
it's so interesting to watch it and to see it happen, and it's so great to see somebody's complete mood change into
Yes,
being like, they come into your office like with this, you know Eeyore like feeling, and they leave like as if they're, on top of cloud nine. They're like Tigger when they go out, so
yeah. I see the vision.
there's my visual.
Yeah.
So anyways, but I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. We're talking to Jaya Jankert, and she is a personal stylist, also personal coach, combined into one. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more or have a consultation from you?
I have first my website which is www.jayajankert.se for Sweden, and on Instagram it's also my name Jaya Jankert,
Mm-hmm.
uh, LinkedIn as well, my name of
Yes.
course, and Facebook also my
Wonderful.
name. So yeah, that's the best way. And
Wonderful.
thank you for inviting me. I
Thank you
really,
so
really
much.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you, Kristi.
I want to thank everyone for tuning into tonight's episode of What's Up Punta Cana. I am Kristi Maggio. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Remember, you can hear Punta Cana Hits Radio 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on www.puntacanahits.com or locally in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic on FM 89.9. So have a great week, everyone. Be back next Friday at 8 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, always with a repeat on Sunday at 8 p.m. And have a good one. Good night.